Clap, 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 clap. Oh, you're too kind. Oh, I was going to fade myself in there. Bye. How do you do it? Welcome to the live stream. I got a comment yesterday when I put a video up. We need more videos and less live streams. Well, too bad. We're going to watch a live. You're going to have a live stream today. Should have actually held that video till Monday, but it is what it is. Hello, Arimo. How you doing? Put up your comments. So, today I want to talk about audience capture. So if you don't know what audience capture is, it's an interesting phenomenon. It's an interesting thought. And I think it has some more broader applications of this theory. And really, I mean, the reason why I wanted to talk about it was I was kind of going through, because I talked about Indiana Jones 5 last week, and I looked into a lot of reviews, and I saw more and more reviews from more and more people, and I started to get the sense that these reviewers weren't necessarily being honest. They weren't necessarily dealing with the material. They weren't even talking about the material. It felt like they were getting into a groupthink kind of a pile-on as far as the movie's concerned. Now, it would be different if the movie was great, okay, but it's not. I mean, I think that the deal with these pile-ons as far as reviewers are concerned is if you have a bland movie. If you have Indiana Jones, to me, was a very, very bland movie, very meh, bland, forgettable movie. I mean, it was fine. It wasn't terrible. Like, my friends and I have been watching terrible movies. It's not terrible. We watched Birdemic. Watch Birdemic. You think Indiana Jones 5 is a mess of an editing? Watch Birdemic. But anyhow, that's my point is, I just feel the movie was bland, and I think the pile-on has something to do with, it's obviously, there's a political argument, there's a political angle to it. I mean, even the comments I got, I'm not even trying to lead you. There's no foreplay tonight. We're going straight to what I want to talk about, okay? So even the comments, I got some like kind of upset comments. Most comments are saying, it's nothing but woke trash. And let me address that first comment was, there's nothing in the movie that's woke. There's no social justice. There's no, we need to return these people's lands to the indigenous people for social justice. There's none of that. It's just a bland Indiana Jones adventure. And then the other comment I got was saying that they cast Phoebe Waller-Bridge as Helena as a way to tick off all their LGBT, whatever letter alphabet, LGBT. Let's just keep it the old-fashioned way. I'm old. Let's go back to the version I know. LGBT. I can't even talk. They said that it ticks off those boxes. And I thought, there's nothing about the character that's even gay. The character is straight. Every character in this movie is straight. There's no, I mean, maybe Sal is straight because he has kids. There's no gay boxes being ticked off at all. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is not gay. At least I don't. Maybe she is. I don't know. I don't think she. I think she's married to somebody or was dating somebody. There's only one line of dialogue that would be considered woke, and even that's such a throwaway dialogue where she says, they're arguing who's stealing from who, and she's like, "Oh, that's capitalism," as if communism doesn't involve stealing people's stuff. But never mind. But that's the only thing so those are the only elements, or that was the only element of anything woke that is in the movie. Anything that ticks off the LGBTQ stuff, there's none of that. Now, the argument was, well, they're putting her as a major, strong female character. But didn't Indiana Jones do that before? Didn't we have strong major female characters in the past movies? We had Marion. Now, Temple of Doom, which I talked about how I actually like Temple of Doom a lot more than most people. Temple of Doom, Willie Scott, she's a little annoying. I get that, so we won't count her. But she is a major character. The third movie had that blonde Nazi girl. I've only seen that movie like 10 times, so I don't remember. Well, 5 times probably. But the blonde Nazi lady was a strong female character. Crystal Skull, if we want to count that, you've got Marion again, a strong female character. The strong female characters are all the way through the series. It's not a new thing. There's nothing new about having a strong female character who ultimately has to listen to what Indiana Jones does, because Indiana Jones has the actual knowledge. The Nazi lady in the third movie, she dies because she's still overcome with, the greed of trying to get the Grail. Same thing here. Indiana Jones solves the puzzles for Helena. I mean, it's still. I mean, at the very ending, okay, I'll keep this relatively spoiler free. But the very ending, yeah, but it's a 10-second thing. Oh, what about the ethnic sidekick? The ethnic sidekick is with Indiana Jones. Huh? I wonder when they did that before. Oh yeah, Temple of Doom. He won an Oscar recently. Good for him. Ke Huy Han. I can never say his name right. They got some green tea going on today. So there's nothing about Indiana Jones 5 that is particularly wokish, other than maybe hiring Phoebe Waller-Bridge is kind of woke, but she made a huge splash. And I was just before I was typing out the comment, they made a big splash with Fleabag. She wrote and starred in it. She didn't direct it. She wrote and starred in it, and it was really, really good. How do you make that connection between that and putting her in an action movie? I mean, logically speaking, there's no chance. But, sure, okay, maybe like Kathleen Kennedy's like, hey, I love Fleabag, I want to give you a chance. Happens all the time. It's nothing particularly woke about that. So, and then the other, so last Saturday night after the stream, I saw that Red Letter Media put out their review of the movie, and I found that their review pretty much matched very closely what I went last week. I went on a tear about the very, very end of the movie. I won't spoil it now. We'll keep it spoiler free. So I was watching their review and I thought they hit the nail they expressed what I wanted to express, which is it was very bland. It's just a bland movie. And then it kind of puts in light what I'm seeing on the other side. So I'm going to go call it out. Like critical drinker, kind of the neurotic, kind of that kind of crowd, the hardcore, nerdy men folks, then the hardcore nerdy, they have a real hate boner for this movie. And critical drinker's in that realm. And I give him a little more of a pass because I tend to agree with a lot more of what he says. But I think he's getting what is called audience capture. You're tuning into those folks to see them hate on Star Wars, Marvel, Indiana Jones, any Lucas project, Disney, any Disney project. They're only there to not only there. Their commentary, their product is just like raging against these products. Not that they're wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they're not entitled to their opinion or anything like that. I'm just saying that it's a complicated relationship to their opinion and what their audience expects them to have. Does that make sense? Let me kind of back up because I put everything I said. There's no foreplay. We're going straight in here. All the fists is all. Never mind. There's no foreplay here. I just wanted to get my thoughts right away. Let's back up and talk about what audience capture is. And I think this is a rather interesting thing. So there's an article. I want to pull this article up. I'm going to go over to my desktop here real quick. Oops, that's not me. I don't want that. Stop. This is what happens. Look, you guys think I'm a big operation. You guys think filmmaker IQ he has a studio. He has this big giant. It's literally me in an unair-conditioned warehouse talking to you on camera. That's the size of it. So bear with me as I pull up my desktop here. Here we go. This is what I look at when I'm talking to you guys. See all these little funny screens? That's cool, right? All right. So here's my chat. And I wanted to go with this article. This is an article by Gerwinder. It's called "The Perils of Audience Capture." I don't want to necessarily read it all, but you can look it up. Just look up audience capture. You'll find this rather insightful. But this is what I wanted to talk about. Here, I can put myself on screen so you can see me too. I think I got to go. Never mind. I don't think I can do that. So I'm going to go back to that. All right. I'm talking. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. Can you still hear me? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you can still hear me. Okay, cool. All right. So he's talking about the story about Nicholas Perry, who's now known as Nicocado Avocado. He started off as a vegan violin player, trying to make videos about veganism. Then for some reason, he decided he wanted to get off the vegan diet. And he started going on a regular diet, and he started filming himself eating, doing these what's called mukbang videos, where you basically make a video of yourself eating, and then you're talking to a friend. And so here's a picture of Nicocado before, when he was young, when he first started. And okay, I'm warning you, this is really hard to watch. This is what he looks like now. Like holy shit. I'm sorry. So yeah, what happened with the meal videos is he started basically taking dares to eat food, and the food would say, "Hey, why don't you finish off that entire bowl of noodle soup?" And he'd do it. "Hey, why don't you finish off that entire thing?" And he'd do it. Why don't you order the entire menu of McDonald's and eat it all on camera? And he'd do it. And now the guy is literally, I mean, look how, I'm not going to pull the picture up again. Look, it hits me super hard. And I'll be very, very honest, and very, very brutally honest here. I've always been fat. As a kid, I was fat. Okay, I grew up probably when I was skinny when I was like 5, but like about 6 or 7, I became the big kid, the husky kid. I was the big guy. And my parents, my mom never let me forget that. All right, so my mom instilled this like fat shame that I carry around with me. Like, you guys think if you're not fat and you're like, oh, you should just come up to me and tell me that I should go on a diet. You don't realize that that's my entire 24-hour existence is thinking that. There's not a time I don't think, I'm perfectly healthy the way I am. No, I've got that. I got that. I definitely need to lose weight. So it's not like you're doing me favors to tell me that I need to lose weight or you need to cut back on the carbs. I'm trying to. Geez. Anyhow, it really hurts me when I see a photo of a young man who's like skinny before, like, become fat like that. Like, that's disgusting. Like, I can't. Some things I can't watch, and like my 600-pound life is something I cannot watch. Anyhow, my point. So the idea with the audience capture is, as we become more and more into this social media influencer style, right? We start putting out content. 24 frames per second is life, right? We put out this content, it becomes popular. Our audience therefore expects us to be a certain way because we've developed a brand. Like, I am the frame rate 24 guy. So therefore, whenever a new movie comes out that's high frame rate, I've got to go see it and tell you how much I hate it. Because that's what my audience expects. That's what the relationship with the audience. If I don't do that, I see my numbers dwindle. And then YouTube's like, hey, your numbers are dwindling. You should probably go back and make some more, that good old content you used to make. And then you reinforce. You get reinforced. You get typecast in this thing. So my point with all this is, I feel like these reviewers are getting into this not bubble, but this audience capture. They're being captured by their audience. It's like what I say with Indiana Jones 5. I don't think it's a great movie. I don't think it's even a good movie. I think it's a bland, just waste of a couple hours. There's a lot more movies I could be watching. I could be watching anything. I could watch Birdemic and have more fun with that, honestly, than this movie. Those are rife. Those are rife for the audience capture. If you made a very, very good movie, then obviously you get a lot of people snipping at it because that's how you get attention. You say, "Oh, that great, what's it called? That Top Gun Maverick. Everyone loved it." And you can say, "Well, no, it was a trashy movie. It was propaganda for the American military. It sucks. I hated it." And everyone will come to you because you said that movie sucks. So then you've got all the attention, right? But for a bland movie, that's just like, Basically, it's rife for just everybody just piling on, just creating a narrative, because I can understand the point of all these people, like Critical Drake. I understand what they're saying. However, I can't go far to say the editing is absolute mess. The editing's serviceable. It's not a mess. It's just serviceable. But you can say that because it's bland. If it's just middling stuff, you can just attach whatever hyperbole you want on top of it. So that's what I'm saying. Anyhow, let's see. What are your comments here? You guys talking about me losing weight? I know I'm trying to, but part of the problem with me losing weight. Stop with the sugar. I barely eat sugar, although I drink like these diet drinks. I don't have sugar in them, but I should probably cut. But it's like I need something. Part of me is I grew up heavy. So growing up heavy, it's like even my doctor when I mean I haven't seen my doctor in like a year, but he's like, we're never going to get you skinny. We don't want to get you skinny because you never were skinny. So we don't want you to get skinny, but we need you, it'd be nice to lose. Let's start with 10 pounds. And I lost 10 pounds and then I got super depressed the last couple of months and I gained like 10 pounds. And so I'm up on the yo-yo, back and we go. I think it's just a matter of just, not being so depressed would help. And just kind of keeping the eating down would be the solution to weight loss for me. Because I've grown up as a big guy, I've got huge muscles. Like my friends are like, oh, I want to work on my calves. And I'm sitting there like, my calves are bigger than your guys' arm. I've got bigger calves than all of you guys put together. And that's just because I've been heavy my whole life and my legs need to support me because I'm heavy. So I've got humongous leg muscles. But anyhow. All right. Let's take a look at your comments here. So, yeah, audience capture. Well, before we get to your comments, let me finish my thoughts on the audience capture. I think this kind of explains also, if you think about this relationship between the person and the audience, right? Like, I am the 24 FPS guy. People are like, Matthews is like, did you watch that video about choppy? I'm just like, I think I watched it, but I don't remember because I don't personally care anymore about 24 frames a second. Like, I love it. I'm not going to change what I do, but I'm tired of the arguments about arguing about it because the arguments are just fruitless. I've been doing this for like 8 years. I've been involved in this debate. It's not a debate. It's a complaint for a long time. But when you create this brand, you can create this persona, right? And then all your audience, and look, I'm not big. We've got like 23 viewers on this screen right now. It's not a huge stream. I'm not super big, but if you're super big, so you have thousands of audiences. Let's say you're a movie star. Let's say you're Tom Cruise or someone like that. You've got literally millions of people who know you are and know your brand, know this iconic person. That's part of when you're an actor. You realize that's not you. That's this creation you've made, right? But the thing is, you are that person. You are captured. You are, for the lack of a better term, a slave to your image. So I can see that's why a lot of, movie stars have all this. It could help explain why they have all this, psychological baggage. You hear all the stories about the drug abuse and all that. I could see it. I can see definitely, because no one can prepare you for that, that kind of fame and stardom. There's quite a bit of a dark side to it. So anyhow, I would recommend you check out that article, Perils of Audience Capture. I think it explains a lot about what's going on with Indiana Jones 5 and even The Flash, which I liked a hell of a lot more. Now, both movies are doing very poorly at the box office. Very, very poorly. I mean, compared to what they spent on the movies, they're going to be a bloodbath, right? It's the studio system. I think I was listening to Chris Gore talk about it, how a lot of stuff is basically, the good thing about being a humongous money loss for Indiana Jones is now they can make a smaller movie, theoretically. If they make a smaller movie that makes $1 billion, they can write down that $1 billion using this humongous loss. So maybe in a good way, like Indiana Jones 5, if it's got like a $400 million budget, because who knows? They said it was a $200 million. Then what's the other movie? One of the movies came out a while ago, said, well, we were off by $100 million on our budget. So if you make a big loss on this movie, you can offset the gains on every other movie. So if they got a big money winner somewhere else, it's all going to be losing money because it's all into the same bucket, right? That's the way Hollywood accounting works, and in a way, that's what business accounting works that way too. If you take a huge loss on something, you can spread the loss across the business. That way, you're not paying taxes on stuff. So that's probably the situation. Is it a shame that to me, the movie is bland? It's a shame that it is bland. I wish it would have been a lot better, but what do you expect at this kind of corporate level? That's what it feels like when you make movies that are $400 million. When you make those super expensive movies, they can't help but be bland and boring because there's just too many chefs in the kitchen. Yeah. So anyhow, all right. Let's see what else you say. It's also the poll you have. I only came across you because of this. I'm a camera technician. Love to learn more about lenses. Oh, cool. Yeah. It's also, it's interesting. Well, so I released a video yesterday, and I think I made a mistake. I shouldn't have released it on a Friday. I think that was the case. But, look, I don't release videos that often because I don't have time to make as many as I'd like to make. It's just running out of time and energy doing them. But I just wanted to get it out there. But the thing is, like, it's not a newsworthy article or video. It's not like it's you gotta watch it right now. So it's one of those things where I can release it anytime I want. But usually if I release on a Monday, the videos have a better start. So with YouTube, it's really kind of about your start. If the video fails to gather an audience at the beginning, YouTube kind of puts it lower level on the algorithm because hey, they're like, not a lot of your fans will watch it, so it's probably not that interesting. So we're just going to keep it. We're not going to suggest it as much. But ironically, as soon as I made that video, like I got a couple comments on other videos that were much older, including one comment about Gemini Man and saying they hated 24 FPS. It's like, okay, I don't care. I just don't care anymore. But anyhow, I like the Indiana Jones idol in the left. Yeah, left would be this one. I think this guy right here. Somebody was saying on my video that I like encourage people to drink because I have a bottle of whiskey on my table with the with the idle fertility wine topper. So what you got to do is you got to like measure out the sand, and like you've got to like that, or else the evil spirits get out. But they're not evil; they're actually nice spirits. The irony, so it's like one of those weird. And the weird thing about that is with this shot, because I happen to like these idols. I got one here, and I've literally got one over my shoulder too. So I've got two idols going for me, and there's an Aladdin's lamp back there too. What was I going to say? Oh yeah. So the commenter was like, "Oh, you're so evil, encouraging young viewers to drink." It's like I don't drink on camera. I leave it on there because it's an old joke from a long time ago from my old filmmaker IQ days. And it's also was part of the set of the character when I do the studios videos, because the guy's a hard drinking noir cop, and I'm not a teetotaler. I drink, not very much though. I just don't have any interest in drinking. But I mean, I'm not against it at all. I told him like, hey, if you want, I was always thinking about trying to sell these as but the thing is, it's one of those things where I don't know the rights to that, and I don't want to be the guy that gets in trouble for IP issues. And I think me being filmmaker IQ would be a little bit more dangerous than just some guy. Kevin Smith had a good argument recently about movie grosses at the cinemas. COVID had conditioned us to watch movies at home on TV. The Flash came out the 16th of June. Is going to stream on the 8th. The Flash is insane how fast that's going to streaming. I mean, I feel like probably that was always the plan, right? Because I don't think they move that fast. I think they were always just going to move it. But I think he's right about the COVID conditioned us to watch movies at home. The hopefully though is that certain movies upcoming are Barbieheimer that will try to get people back into theaters. I honestly think theater experience. Some of my friends are like, oh, what would I go? I'm a purist. I think the theater is a little bit more of a better, not a little more. It's a better experience than at home. Like at home, much easier for me to fall asleep watching a movie. At a theater, I will not fall asleep. Omar Sharif said, imagine you are the guy with money. Someone comes to you saying they want to shoot a film without women. Love story, not much action, spending a huge amount of money in the desert. Yeah. What would you do? Omar Sharif on Lawrence of Arabia. Yeah. That's true. Stefan Pepper says, I've watched Indy 5 yet, but I did watch and like The Flash. I wasn't going to a movie expecting Dark Knight. I was looking for a fun movie, and I think it delivered on its in that regard. Yes, I agree. That's the thing. Look, I talked about this in my review of The Flash, in that there are certain angles. And look, the thing I'm saying, I'm not saying people like the nerdrotics and the critical drinkers and all those people, I'm not saying they're wrong. They're making legitimate points. Many points I full-heartedly agree with. What gets me is the like, if I were to sit down with a critical drinker, I'm probably sure we would agree on most things, right? I think we would agree a lot. The thing is, though, and we have to be careful with this audience capture, is sometimes, look, I'm not saying that they secretly liked the movie or secretly thought the movie was better. I'm not saying that at all either. I'm saying is there is this expectation of these people not liking the movie. All right? Just like if you were to say, hey, what would you think Red Letter Media thought of Indiana Jones 5? All right? Given the fact that they did the Plinkett review of the Crystal Skull, they did Plinkett reviews of the Star Wars movies, right? They're kind of the OG, the old big old, original gangster version of the hate watch pop culture thing. They originated half of the jokes we tell. Like maybe you didn't notice it, but your brain did. They originate all that. And I watched their review with kind of an interest because I was kind of thinking, are they going to be audience captured? Because I saw the movie before I saw their review of it. I was like, are they going to be cat? But I watched it, and I was surprised to find that they weren't part of that pile-on that I'm seeing. And again, so it wasn't so much that the critical drinker nerd the big guys were attacking it. That I can kind of, it's what bothers me more is the small guys, because then there's a lot of smaller reviewers I've seen it here and there, and they're trying to outperform, right? They're trying to. Like, oh my God, it was the worst possible thing. Oh, it's so bad. It's just I couldn't stand it. I was having a mental aneurysm while watching it. It was just like, no, it's not. No, it's not. It's not. It's the small guys trying to ape the attention from the big guys. The Critical Drinker already has an audience, right? But again, audience capture can also affect the creator. So the creators, they have to toe a certain line. I don't know. So I give Critical Drinker a little bit more leash than some of you guys on the stream here, in the chats I see. I feel like because he at least has some work, like he produces novels, so he actually works in the writing field. I think Red Letter Media, in the same respects, they make content, they make shitty movies, and they make like best of the worst, so they get to watch really, really terrible movies. But they actually have done the work, or at least are adjacent to the work. I think what's scary is the CinemaSins. Oh my God. Well, yeah, CinemaSins is. Well, I stay far. I have not been a fan of theirs for like going way, way back, like 10 years. Anyhow. It's just what I find is some of the people that are trying to ape that success are trying to reproduce that success by being even more hyperbolic. And then, of course, also you've got the telephone effect, which is basically I get comments from people that watch Critical Drinker that don't have any experience making stuff, that don't have any experience even reviewing, don't have like a long history of watching movies or something that aren't critical thinkers themselves. They're taking whatever Critical Drinker says, applying the game of telephone, which is when you mutate it, like you know the game of telephone, right? You say something, you whisper a secret message, and then you go around 20 times, and it's like completely garbled by the end of the thing. But that's what I get, and then those people tell their friends, and like, I heard this is anyhow. That's one of the, I have one friend. He might be on stream on it. Let's see if he's there. I have one friend who will tell me what he thinks about movies, but he never watches movies. So he'll like, I heard that Barbie movie is super woke. I'm like, why? Oh, it's because it's about women. Like, where'd you hear that from? because a bunch of woke people were talking about how it's or empowering or not empowering. It's like no, I'm getting this game of telephone. I'm getting a game of telephone from these people. But I mean, like, I love my friend there dearly, but it's like you gotta engage with the content. Like movie reviewers can help you decide whether you want to spend your time watching a movie or not. But like if that's all you get is opinions from a particular side. Anyhow, I am totally I'm totally just kind of rambling at this point. But you kind of get what I'm saying here. Who do you guys agree with more, with Mike or Jay? Me personally, I'll let you guys answer in your chat too. Me personally, I like Mike better because I feel like I'm more like Mike. But then Mike also has some weird. Well, we're people, right? You don't always agree with everybody in the world, right? But Mike tends to be more in the flavor of me. He's kind of like schlocky stuff. Although, I mean, I don't know. Rich is kind of a everyman. Really, everyone has a little bit of Rich Evans in them. Like everybody in the world is Rich Evans. That's what. But I mean, I like Jay. But I'm not the horror junkie that Jay is. Jay is just a completely horror junkie. I think, Best of the Worst celebrated bad filmmakers by drawing attention to their bad films. They weren't the first, You would not know Roger Corman. Oh, you wouldn't. But Roger Corman is huge. Like when I was doing a bunch of stuff about history of film, and when I was doing, like, we would do daily activities and stuff like that on Filmmaker IQ, which I got rid of, unfortunately, because it's just no one actually did them. But Corman is like a humongous name. And like everyone who knew, remember, like, Corman gave a lot of people his start. Like Roger Corman gave people like what's his name? Opie from, dang it. I'm talking about the redhead guy with no hair. He gave him a start. He gave like Jonathan Demme a kind of a first start. Like Corman was super well known, and then in the kind of the indie circles, because he was a maverick that would go out and make his make stuff. Anyhow, yeah, certain exposures. Check out that it's a Gerwinder article if you want to read about it. Am I warning you about how to make YouTube videos? A little bit, because it affects me and it will affect you too. It really will, because it's just weird. Anyhow, not weird. I want to get to this comment here. Bullet Sign says, the problem with social news is credibility and source. I'm one to check out the news when it seems too sketchy. Yes, totally agree. In fact, I did retweet this one tweet I saw. So what happened was, I'm going to get political here, but forgive me. What happened was, Supreme Court basically undid affirmative action. And there was this one tweet from some blonde lady that said, how will black people succeed in a meritocracy? They can't succeed in meritocracy. Like, they need affirmative action. All right. And then the right wing jumped on that tweet and said, oh my God, you idiot leftists, you liberal idiots, you just totally outed yourself as being flat out racist, right? And for a day or two, like, the whole right wing just went, ha 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 ha, they're laughing their asses off. But this one guy's like, this is kind of sketch. Like, who is this lady? Who is this blonde lady to say this? And why she became so super famous? Well, it turned out, and he started digging. He started like Googling this woman's name, and she kept like digging a hole for herself. Oh, I'm going to hire a lawyer and potentially sue anybody that comes after me, right? Like, it felt, if you were, if you were a little bit more, cynical, you would say, I smell a rat. So he Googled her name and found like no trace of her at her supposed workplace. So I think it was like some college or some university. No name associated with it. And dug further down, and I'm not sure if it's complete. Again, I am take this with a grain of salt. This might be speculation, but it makes you kind of realize. Think, this person was a concoction of a PR firm in Belgium. For what reason, we don't necessarily know. It was a bot. It was a bot controlled by a PR firm in Belgium. It's like, wait, what? This bot literally trolled like half of Twitter, right? So, how do you believe anything? And it came back to this guy's tweet was basically, if you see anything on the internet and you get super pissed off, or like it's so, the term I hear, on the nose. If it's so on the nose, it's probably fake. And that's what scares me. It's like if I see anything online, it's like, oh, this is exactly what I expected. It's probably fake. Yeah, y'all Americans are wild with your politics. I know. It's stupid. It's so stupid. As I drink my weirdly infused green tea from Kirkland Signature. I don't know about you, but when I see the brand Kirkland Signature, I know I'm getting reasonably good quality for a slightly better price, sold through Costco. Costco, I love you. Anyhow, Corbin would do 75 setups a day. I know, he must have great abs. Okay, that's a terrible joke. Now, you know the story about like Little Shop of Horror, the original one, was basically had a leftover set from another movie, or his buddy had a leftover set. Say, hey, we have this set for another day and a half. Can you want to use it? It's like, sure. We'll make that movie, Little Shop of Horror. And this is like, yeah, Costco. Welcome to Costco. I love you. If you guys remember that movie, you guys remember that movie, right? Idiocracy. I think the movie is fine. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. I like it. It's good. But I'm sick of everybody comparing us to Idiocracy. Can we just stop? Can we please stop comparing ourselves to Idiocracy? Anyhow. Yeah, America's the land of extremes. So you think American politics is bad? You really think American politics is that bad? Do you really think that? When I was a kid, I was born in Taiwan. Do you guys know anything about Taiwanese politics? Do you know anything about Taiwanese politics? When I was born in Taiwan, the joke was, and they would show this on the news, like in the Taiwanese Congressional Hall, because Taiwan is a republic. I think it was fairly close to a democracy, much more democratic than China, and that's the problem. That's why China wants to take back Taiwan. Blah blah blah. Anyhow, when I was a kid, we're talking in the 80s. The footage from the Taiwanese congressional building would often result in fistfights. Like the congressmen in suits and ties would be like throwing punches at each other constantly in Taiwan. Like that was, and it was not like a one-time affair. It was like, oh, they're fist fighting again in the Taiwanese capital. What's new? So, the politics of America are. The culture war in America is probably more extreme. I don't know if it's more extreme. But the culture war is definitely on fire in America. Politics is pretty insane too, but I don't think this is a uniquely American thing. I think this is a uniquely human thing, that we are all just so tribalistic. And the term I was using was, we project our moral superiority amongst ourselves. We're out there always trying to project our moral superiority. The fact that I'm saying this is me projecting my moral superiority. Like, I am better than everybody because I don't engage with tribalism. No, I'm not. I'm being a tribalist as well. We're all tribalists. It's all stupid. Politicians getting into fistfights is probably less extreme than the national split we have in America. I don't know. Are you saying that sticks and stones don't break my bones and words will hurt me? Is that what you're saying, Truth Mystery? I don't know about that. I think it's one of those grass is always greener. Do you really want your politicians getting in fist fights? I don't know about that. Matthias, who's in South America, talk about another place with really peaceful politics, right? South American politics make the United States seem insane. Here in Brazil, it's insane how corrupt the messy politics are, extreme things are. We are a joke that's being studied by, like we are a joke that should be studied by NASA. Everybody's doing stuff, man. Everybody's crazy. Not to say that not to say that, oh yeah, American politics is just hunky dory. Oh, this is wonderful. No, we're insane. Everyone's insane though. Maybe, I don't know, maybe, are the Swedes insane? The Swedish politics weird? I don't know. I haven't seen it. I know one Swedish guy. Should ask him. Probably not. I think they're all crazy. Certain you found the article? Yeah, the Gerwinder. That first story, heartbreaking. Anyhow, that's my thoughts. That's where I'm getting. What do you guys think? What are you guys thinking? What do you guys want to talk about? You're talking about Mike Judge? Oh, I watched Birdemic. Birdemic on July 4th. The greatest day of the year for America. Right? We should have watched Team America, but no, we watched Birdemic. Luckily, we watched the version with riff tracks. And that made it tolerable, because that movie is so bad. It's just terrible. Oh, it was. If you think Indiana Jones 5 is the worst movie you've ever seen, then you need to watch Birdemic, because that will put your. That's like, it's like, oh my God, it's so hot, and he's like, dude, it's 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, but I'm still in Celsius, so 70 degrees sounds like it's so hot. No, you need to like recalibrate your taste sensors when you watch a movie like Birdemic. Birdemic tells a story of a guy who bizarrely hooks up with a beautiful girl who's now a leading. I'm already falling asleep thinking about it. Victoria's Secret model. Oh, never mind. Yeah, and after about an hour or so, the birds start attacking, but they're really bad CGI. They're like, there's a flapping, but they're just standing still in the frame. They're just doing that the whole time. And then they start shooting them with guns that have endless magazines of bullets, and yeah. Oh my God. Sorry, I'm getting sleepy just thinking about it. Yeah. So hey, we're going to talk some American politics here on the chat. That's what's going on. Matthew says, I wonder if we might have a new Hollywood movie in cinema soon. Things are getting cyclical. So I also tweeted. So I tweeted two things, retweeted a couple things. On Twitter, I got no traction, which, you know what? I don't care. So what? Whatever. Even though I have like 80,000 followers, like no one ever retweets. I guess they were all retweets or all followers from the old days when we used to post like pictures of like celebrities and stuff. But two people I retweeted. I retweeted one of the Russo brothers, who said, make movies 120 minutes or less again. And it's like, yes, Hollywood has a bloat problem. We bloat our movies insanely. We need to cut that shit down and not make everything 3 hours long. 2 hours. Let the Christopher Nolan's let Christopher Nolan pretend David Lean. He can make an epic. Okay, fine. But dude, Indiana Jones does not need to be 2 hours and 34 minutes long. Across the Spider-Verse does not need to be 2 hours and 34 minutes long. Just condense. You may have to blame streaming for that, because if it's streaming, then who cares? Like what, The Irishman was like 3 hours plus or something like that. Oh, I can't take these. It's a little too long. Anyhow, so I would retweet that. The other thing I retweeted was and I was go back like 5 weeks or 6 weeks ago. I had a live stream where I talked about how I'm super optimistic for cinema, because I was listening to that Quentin Tarantino book on cinema speculation. I was super optimistic because I was seeing Disney fail and fail and fail and fail. Like all the big properties were going to fail. And, that's got me excited, because if we can see the big guys crumble with this David versus the Goliath of Disney, the Goliath of all these studios, if we can see them fail, and smaller movies, the smaller Davids, the small little quirky movies, if we can figure out a way to make money on that, then we got a whole new age of cinema coming for us. Like a golden age, like an exciting time period. We're in an exciting time period. I mean, I can go out and shoot a movie that looks almost as good as the big boys. Not quite as good, because I don't have the set design. But I got the technology to make a lot of great stuff, at least good enough. if I can tell the good story. And we're there. We've been there for a while, but now we're seeing the big guys crumble. We're seeing them falter. This is our chance. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the future of cinema. Totally excited. If you're going to make a movie longer than 90 minutes, you need to give us an intermission so we can go to the bathroom, dang it. That's for sure. I'm getting to the age. I'm getting there. I've thought about having to get up and go, but yep. Birdemic sucks. Nothing, no true words as said. The founder fathers can't agree on what liberty meant. The Constitution was written so that the legislature could sort it out. They turned it into a Bible. They didn't turn it into a Bible because there's a lot of amendments that have been made since. That's the brilliant thing about the Constitution is that it is amendable, and people can constantly revise it. There's some, the whole issues of slavery, in the Constitution. There were, obviously those words that were put in the Declaration were kind of a time bomb. Like they knew what was gonna. They knew shit was gonna go down, and they tried to maintain it as long as they could until then, boom, Civil War, and it's good. Yeah, filmmaker, nice knowing you. The mouse will make it. Hello, I heard you said some bad things about Indiana Jones. Take that. Okay, never mind. The UK has had an influx of US TV shows made in the UK. The Hot Wheels TV show was filmed next door in a rental house. Hot Wheels? They made a movie. They made a show about Hot Wheels. Everyone in front of the camera was US. Everyone behind it was UK. Well, there you go. Hey, you know what? At least you can think. At least the way you can think about that is, hey, we're giving you our money. I watched the Spider-Man across the Spider-Verse. It's amazing to watch these. I wouldn't cut any second from it. I love seeing Miles' day-to-day, regular, and superhero life is so well explained. There you go. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Like I said, there's the two reasons why I didn't like it was I didn't realize it was part one, and the kids were fucking annoying. I really hated the kids. I think it could have cut the Miles down stuff. It could have cut the Miles stuff out a little bit because I've seen the original Into Spider-Verse at least 4 or 5 times now, so I'm really familiar with it. And the Miles just felt like excessive and redundant because I already was familiar with it. Yeah, I won't get any new content for a while with the writer's strike. Yep. I don't know if SAG-AFTRA will strike. It's questionable. Like I said, let's talk about my limited understanding of politics. So we are seeing the big guys crumble a little bit, right? These big movies are failing. They're not doing that well. Okay. Indiana Jones just crossed $100 million. It took it like 8 days, and then it's got like Mission Impossible to go up against this weekend. And it even got beat out by that other movie, Sound of Freedom, which sounded like is a $14 million movie. James Caviezel, I believe it was, and it's interesting. So that movie, I saw Film Threat and Chris Score talk about that movie, and they gave that a really high recommendation. So that means I feel like I would agree with them. I haven't seen it yet. I was going to see it maybe tomorrow. But then you see all like the Rolling Stones saying like, oh, this guy is a alt-right adjacent, like whatever that means, and they're saying, well, this whole child trafficking thing is a boomer scare tactic or it's a crazy conspiracy theory for boomers. And you're like, guys, I already wanted to see it. You make me want to go see it even more now. But that movie I guess did really well on July 4th. It made back the entire budget in one day. So I don't know why I brought that up. Other than that, okay, so you're seeing the big Hollywood kind of crumble. Look at Disney Plus. Look at how much money are they making on Disney Plus? They must be rolling. No, they're bleeding cash at Disney Plus. I heard, and again, I don't know exact details. I heard Paramount Plus is also not doing well. A CNN Plus literally died in a month. The streaming stuff is not making money. I don't know what's happening with Netflix, how healthy they are. Max, who knows? I don't know. Is anyone making a lot of money in streaming? Is anyone actually making money? I don't think so. So I think the major question the writers have with the streaming sites is, or with the studios is, look, we used to make money when you would put stuff on air because you would get residuals for being on air, but now it's on streaming. Like it goes there and it dies, and we don't make any money. Like we're seeing our paychecks drop like precipitously, right? So, what can we do? Well, I think the hard answer is that the streaming model doesn't work the way we think it does. Like we may have to go back to like a pay-per-view model because, like in the old days with HBO or something, it was, you bought HBO, you got a limited library of things to watch. You got like 4 channels of HBO or whatever. I never had HBO as a growing up, but you had like 4 channels of HBO, and you could watch whatever's on HBO at the time. And then it was a small collection. Now you get Max, and you got this vast library of stuff, and I'm paying like $10, and I get to see this whatever I want. Basically, it's insane. So I don't think. On the side of the producers, they're not making money on streaming, or maybe they are making money. They're just lying to us and telling us. I don't know. So I'm really worried about what's going on with, I feel like, it's getting harder and harder to make money from the producer's side, from the big production side, right? That, I don't see a good solution to this. Maybe the solution might be no more streaming, at least the way we think about it. And that hurts the consumers because we like being able to watch anything we want. That's cool. I like to be able to turn on HBO. It's like, I want to rewatch the first few seasons of Game of Thrones. But maybe we got to get to the point where it's like you have to pay for that. Instead of streaming like a all you can eat buffet, maybe it's going to be like more a la carte. Be like, oh, you pay like 99 cents for this, 99 cents for that. I don't know. Ooh, we're going to get into fun economics and politics. When Biden admin got pressured to stop inflation by ending quantitative easing, I know what QE stands for, the venture capitalists and banks lenders bankrupted, so the startups and big tech investments lost their capital. Is that what it is? And interest rates cause all this stuff. Maybe. I don't know. I think the thing with streaming though, it was also it's kind of a bubble, in that everyone Netflix made so much money, I guess, at the beginning, and then they spent so much money, and everyone but it's starting to collapse because there's so many. How many shows you ever go through Netflix and like look at the TV shows and like I have no idea what this is. It's a whole like 3 seasons of this, but I didn't know it was I didn't know it was a thing. I didn't know it was a thing at all. Most people in the theaters are fine, but when there's a few people who use their phones. Any use of phone in the film pisses me off. Someday I'll end up breaking someone's phone. Happened to me on Indiana Jones. I for some reason my phone has a very, very sensitive has a feature called Butt Dial Express, where all you gotta do is blow on it and it will like dial 911 for you, emergency services. It's amazing. It's an awesome feature. But yeah, my phone just started playing this random video. And my goddamn good lucky that wasn't playing porn. Although that might have been more interesting what was going on. Yeah, but my phone just bizarrely went off. Like, yeah, my phone's listening, and it's like, are you talking shit about me? Yes, I am, phone. So the worst part about my phone is, I guess and this is all Android phones, is if you tap like the power button like 5 times or something like that, it will start calling emergency services. And this is the worst part. When I'm driving in my car, my phone's in my pocket, and it just butt dials that button 5 times or whatever it is. And my phone's connected to my car speaker system, so I hear, I can listen to videos and podcasts and all that. I hear whoop, whoop, there. My alarm starts going off in my car. And the first time I heard it, I freaking freaked out. I triple freaked out. It was nighttime. It was like 1 a.m. or I was driving home from my office. And it was like, oh crap, what did I do? I thought it was like, like the police were coming after me or something. And I'm like, I was freaking out. What is that? What is that? And then my phone was like, it's trying to dial emergency services. It's like, this is the worst thing ever. Because it always comes on when I'm just driving and it's nice and quiet and I'm just lost in my thoughts, and all of a sudden I get hit with this really loud alarm. It's like, oh, it's awful. It's awful. Amazon, YouTube, Reddit, Twitter rose so far due to not giving a crap about profits. Now this is the end of the cycle. Yep, agree with that. What's 100%. Reddit, in many ways, like, yeah, Facebook, Facebook is a money cash cow. But the bubbles are due to investors. The more capital you have, the more infrastructure you have, the better services you provide, the easier your crash competition. Now capital dries up and revenue is needed. Yeah, that's true. So what happens to the streaming services? If we need revenue, we just got to like get off of, like, I mean, Netflix has always been like jacking up rates every once in a while and then telling people they can't share their accounts as a way to increase revenues. But I don't think that's going to be enough, right? I mean, I don't think it is. No, I don't know what providers in here in Brazil love to harass with SMS and phone calls. I get it quite a bit. In fact, my home landline, I still have a landline at home just because, like, why not? But I've had it for, same number for like 34 years. And yeah, and my mom, my mom's older. My dad was original owner of the thing, would be really old. My dad would have been 99 years old this week. He was his birthday on the 5th. But I get a lot of calls because I'm probably on a senior citizen list, and they're trying. I get a lot of fake call centers from India. Sorry, India, but you guys have a lot of freaking scammer call centers, and I would get them. I get one of those phone calls. So I got a phone call on my cell phone. It's like, hey, like this is the IRS calling. Your account is overdrawn, and you must press 1 to speak to an agent or face severe criminal charges that may include life in prison, something like that, right? And so I was like, oh, I better pick up. Hit 1. It's like, hey, John, FBI speaking. And the guy on the other line said, fuck you. And he just hung up on me. So I guess it wasn't the IRS calling me. I was surprised. I was surprised. I would think the interagency communications, would be a little more friendlier than that. I was just saying I was the FBI, and he really was pissed off. He did not want to talk to the FBI. Rigel 7 says, Indy, hand me the MacGuffin, Fleabag. Never. I need to. John's phone. Oh, baby. Yeah. Just like that. Yep. I was afraid. No, it was like some weird reviewer phone, some review thing. Yeah. They should have just kept her character Fleabag in the movie. I mean, that would have been probably more interesting. Anyhow. All right. What else is going on here? Time is it? I've been on here for an hour. I have to go on for 2 hours at least, right? Because that one guy that said he liked my technical videos, but he doesn't want to watch any of my live streams. We got to make sure we get to 2 hours so he isn't tempted to watch this one. I should appreciate. I mean, I'm not going to hate on people for saying that. Like, okay, I get it. You like to watch the actual scripted videos I make. And I should probably start another channel for this stuff, but why not? Just keep it all the same. Just curious, have you ever backed a Kickstarter movie or thought of doing one? I started thinking about that when you mentioned your excitement. I have, in principle, I don't like to back Kickstarters. I know that's kind of a weird thing. I don't, because I have a thing where I think Kickstarter preys on internet naivete. Like I don't trust Kickstarter. Not just Kickstarter, but Indiegogo, all of these, right? But I have Patreon people. I will, see, that's the thing. The difference between me and my friends when it comes to media, I will spend money on movie tickets. I will spend money on buying stuff, right? Now, all right, I'll say it. We're late in the stream. The officials aren't watching. I have not been unfamiliar with those that wish to travel the high seas for their entertainment, if you know what I'm saying. But I would rather prefer to, like, if you're giving me a choice between like paying 99 cents or, visiting Captain Ahab on a boat to get your favorite movie, I would prefer to pay the 99 cents because I live and die by people consuming media. That's my business and that's how I make money. I don't have a problem. Morally, I don't have a problem giving money to creators, but Kickstarter and stuff like that always bug me a little bit because it's a little naive the way they've marketed it. If I can kind of make that clearer. The easiest example to explain what my issues are is, let's say I go to Kickstarter. I say not Kickstarter. Let's say Indiegogo, and say I need $100,000 to make my movie. I need $100,000 to make my movie, and I raise, let's say, $30,000. But I have that Indiegogo set to I get to keep the money even if I don't reach my goal. Well, I got $30,000. Can I make my movie? Probably not. If you said you needed $100,000, how can you make a movie if you only have $30,000? That doesn't seem right. Well, you can go and make your movie for $30,000 then, right? You can cut all your expenses. But then you should have just sold the goal at $30,000. You shouldn't have tried to set it to $100,000. You should have tried to raise $30,000 and then meet your. So there's that. I know Kickstarter doesn't have that available, that option. But I think the other thing that pissed me off about Kickstarter was, you know what it was? It was just kind of the involvement with all right, so do you guys remember the digital Bolex? Do you guys remember that? The digital Bolex? It was really pushed hard through Kickstarter. And I remember No Film School at the time. I used to read No Film School. I have now completely cut them off in my life. I do not read that site at all. But it felt so ridiculously hipsterish, the digital Bolex. The images were okay, but it was we're going to bring back CCDs. No more CMOS cameras. We need a CCD the old. No, CCDs are not great. CMOSs are better. Anyhow, digital Bolex was pushed through Kickstarter. That's probably why I don't particularly care for Kickstarter. Just a lot of pie in the sky ideas, and there's no real semblance. I mean, yeah, if you want to give money to a movie or a project, that's probably a good. It's probably a good cause. I should try to do a Kickstarter. Thing is, I don't generate a lot of popular attention. I got 30 people on this stream. That's how popular I am. 19. We're down to 19. So, yeah. It is what it is. Anyhow. Let's go back to your comments. Let's see Matthew's comment about Spider Cross the Spider-Verse. I wouldn't cut anything from Miles, actually. I love seeing so well Miles' grounded struggles in his real life, family, and superhero. In fact, I would watch a whole TV show about Miles. I would, but the movie's not about Miles. It's called Cross the Spider-Verse, and I'm tired. And I already got the Miles grounded. I already saw his struggles in the first movie. I find it funny that I watched Northern Exposure, and Ed does all his film projects with the Bolex. Well, the Bolex was really popular, right? So, I mean, I never shot those cameras, but the Bolex was super popular. So, wasn't that 16 millimeter? I'm trying to remember. I think it was. Anyhow. So what else is going on? I'm able to cut this live stream. Yeah, it's only been on for an hour. Hour and two. Hit that like and subscribe. Whatever that means. Oh, let's see here. I'll always be amused and baffled how Americans tiptoe around even mentioning piracy here in Brazil and South America in general. We live and breathe in piracy. It's super casual, normal. Well, yeah, because we are the first world country that basically everybody pirates from. That's why, and because look, I do business in this. I trade business. I don't want my shit pirated. I've had my shit pirated. It's annoying. It's just we are Americans. Americans that are in media are a little more tiptoe around it because it's not really acceptable to do that. Unless we're America back in the 1800s, right? I tell a story on my copyright video about how Americans were the king of pirates when it came to IP stuff in the late 1700s, 1800s. We just pirated everything from England. Hey, English have Dickens, so we don't have a Dickens in America, so we're just going to go take his books and republish them here in America. The big problem, that was the big issue with what's his face, Gilbert and Sullivan. Gilbert and Sullivan got so sick of their shit getting HMS Pinafore getting pirated by American theaters, just constantly pirated. That they they actually, when they did Pirates of the Penzance, I don't know if that name is ironic or not, but then they did Pirates of Penzance, they literally made a point of scheduling and setting up an American tour so they can make money in America off of it. But so in the old days, in the very 200 years ago, Americans were the king of the piracy, but not anymore. Now we make the stuff, we don't want other people to steal our stuff. Like China, if China became a super cultural powerhouse, you bet they would be enforcing their copyright. You bet they would. It's whoever has the power that wants to enforce copyright. There you go. Anyhow. Oh, you saw the 20,000 frames per second video? Thank you. I was kind of hoping that would be the... it's not a mea culpa because it doesn't really change the 10 frame rate video of the human eye. But I was kind of hoping that would be like... Because a couple of people in the comments were like, hey, it'd be much more interesting to talk about what's the highest frame rate. Like, okay, let's talk about it. Because I think understanding the highest frame rate and what the biological frame rate is you need to have a clarity of thought when it comes to exposure and stuff like that. Anyhow. Imagine pirating Gilbert and Sullivan in Britain, they can shut you down easier. Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Similar story with, I'm trying to think of the other example of the piracy that, I can't remember. There's another example I had where they went across. I mean, Victor Hugo was kind of the reason why we have modern copyright was Victor Hugo, because basically he was writing in Paris, in France, and I guess people would take his books and take it over to Belgium, and Belgium had less copyright, very lax copyright laws. They'd publish them in Belgium and then come back and sell them in France. So Hugo was very, very irritated. That's what it was. It was Jesus Christ Superstar. Same thing happened. So Jesus Christ Superstar, Andrew Lloyd Webber wrote that Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice wrote Jesus Christ Superstar, but they kind of wrote it as a concept album at first. And so the concept album was released in 76, and the concept album became a massive, massive hit, on the radio. I Don't Know How to Love Him, became number one on the UK charts for weeks on end, right? So the album was floating out in the public for a very, very long time. And a lot of Americans loved it too. And Americans decided, hey, we got the whole entire album of all these songs. Let's deconstruct it and make our own musicals, make our own version, or stage our own musical using the music from the album. And so they did that. And so there's a lot of examples of Jesus Christ Superstar being staged in America before the actual stage play was created based on the concept album. They basically went around shutting all of those down. And then they released the London version. And I think Andrew Lloyd Webber saw it and he just thought it was disgraceful. And I think Andrew Lloyd Webber was really funny. It's funny about him, his relationship with Superstar is that I don't think he really liked it. I think every staging of it he thought was not respectful. Because the very first version, Herod is a drag queen. It's just a complete drag queen. And I think Webber had issues with that. But yeah, it wasn't until the 76, an original version came out in London. They had to shut all the pirated versions down. Movie came out a few years afterward. And Webber didn't like that either. So I don't think Webber ever liked a version until 2009 or something like that. I don't remember. Whatever version that they did in Australia or something like that. Yeah. Matthew says, we pirate what is made in Brazil. I'm sure you do. Everything is pirated. Calypso Band said they owed part of the success of the sale of pirated CDs, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. It's not, the relationship between piracy and success is not new, right? You become popular because you got pirated. And then you want to try to make money on that. But if you try to make money on it, you try to charge people for it, they're not going to want to buy it. So it's not, I'm not going to be Pollyanna and think like it's completely not related at all. Yeah, I don't know about Brazil, but corporate lawyers in America are with a briefcase are the U.S.'s most capable weapons wielders. Try not to attract their attention too much. Yeah, they're money sucking things. So that's the thing. Well, I guess if you're a company, you already have them on retainer. You might as well use them, right? But other than that, it's just a money drain. Just a complete. Lawyers are just complete money drain on things. And if we could just sit down and like, agree to stuff without lawyers, you'd save a lot of money. I was watching. So one of my favorite streamers like to watch is Rakita Law, which probably outs me as a far right extremist now, even though I think he's relatively moderate. But he was talking about how like if you make under 30, like if you have like under $30,000 of assets or something like that, and you get divorced, it's probably cheaper to just let, if as a man, probably cheaper if you're a certain age, like it's just cheaper to just let them have everything than it is to actually go to court and fight it with lawyers, because the lawyers will essentially eat most of that money. Like if you had a house and like $30,000 of savings, and you actually went through a messy divorce, like the lawyers will take most of that money. Like most of the money they're fighting over, it'll go in the lawyer's pocket. It's like that's how bad. And he's a lawyer. Lawyers are pretty. I've had a couple dealings with lawyers, and expensive. Write a piece of paper costs like $1,700. Come on. So anyhow, lawyers for you. Yeah, certain exposures talks about that article from Gear Wonder. Yeah, a few things about success seem ring true, doesn't it? And I think if you extrapolate that to the larger, more like famous people, celebrities, it becomes even crazier. Musk just sued Twitter's lawyers for costing $90 million, forcing him to buy Twitter. Lawyers. Aren't lawyers fun? When you got that kind of billions, though, I guess. I was telling my friend, though, like, as rich as Musk is, and he is rich, don't get me wrong, but it's not like he has $1 billion in his pocket, or $100 billion in his bank account. It's all tied to stocks. It's all tied. If he wanted to raise $1 million, he'd still have to like go through a bunch of hoops. The thing is, he can, and I can't. That's the difference. Like Musk could raise $1 million if he wanted to, but he does have to jump through a lot of hoops to get it. I, however, cannot raise $1 million, even if I wanted to. I could not do it. I could raise probably $30,000, but then I'd be on the hook for $30,000, and my credit score would go way down. Anyhow. Brazil is anything goes in corruption, but I'm sure that even in the United States, people can pirate torrents and not get caught. VPNs are too. Okay, so all right, story time. So the other day I was marketing the wares of the port of. I am losing my cute jokiness. The certain stars of the webs. I was procuring wares from the digital port of call. What I was looking for, but to be fair, what I was looking for were movies that you would not be able to find in Amazon or anything like that. I was digging for bad movies to watch with my friends, because my friends have been doing this bad movie night. And we watched Birdemic, we watched Troll 2, we watched all of Neil Breen's films. They're fun to just get around and have a laugh and fucking yell at the screen. And I have a blast at them. So I was looking for these awful movies that, I was going through like best of the worst, the best of the worst, trying to find the movies that would be funny. So there's a difference between a bad movie and a funny bad movie. Like a bad movie is just bad and boring, and you're like, a boring movie is a bad movie. Okay, I don't want to sit through a boring movie, but a bad movie that Hard Ticket to Hawaii. We watched Hard Ticket to Hawaii. We watched Samurai Cop. I got L.A. Cop. So I was downloading all these. I was procuring the wares of all these movies that you wouldn't be able to find anywhere. Even like, okay, so even the example, Russ Myers. Russ Myers, Tarantino had a little section about Russ Myers, and it got me intrigued. And I watched Super Vixen, and I thought that was insane. And I thought, I gotta watch more Russ Meyer movies because this guy is just nuts. And my friend's probably a little too risque for them. I don't think that seeing nipples would be might offend certain person's sensibilities. But anyhow, where was I going with that? Where was I talking about? Oh yes, so I downloaded a couple more Russ Myers movies, right? And a couple, like, classic bad Hollywood B picture movies. And then I get a phone call. I say, "Hi, this is Frontier, your internet service provider." I'm like, "Holy shit. Oh crap, are they going to get me?" Because before, I did this one time. I downloaded the Avengers movie to include in my one of my videos. I think it was a green screen video. And I got an email from Verizon at the time saying, "Hey, we tracked the fact that you downloaded this through your IP." And I don't have a VPN because it's like, I don't usually sail the high seas. So I was scared. I get this phone call from Frontier Wireless, is my internet service provider here in the office. Like, "Hi, is this John?" I was like, "I am." I'm like, "Oh," my heart's pounding. And they're like, "Well, so we want to offer you this new service that will give you more internet speed for about the same what you're paying now." I'm like, "Oh." So it wasn't. They were just trying to get me on trying to up my service a little bit, and I ended up going for the gigabit down and up plan. So that's all it is. That's all it is. All right. The lawyers were just doing the jobs. I think they earned those 90 million. Mux's butt hurt. Who knows? It's lawyers for you. They'll end up settling for less and all that crap. You know how it is. Yeah, you can't understand how deep corruption is in everything in the society unless you live here for many years. I'll take your word for it. As I think, I think also, well, Southern American countries have always had like corruption issues, like the whole thing with Evita Peron and all the Peronistas, I'm sure South America, even Mexico, is very corrupt, as I understand it. Anyhow, that's my thing. All right, guys, it is about 3:00. Anything else you want to talk about before I take off? I need to go get some bratwurst because we're doing another movie night. Make sure I take my USB sticks with all of the bad movies I put on there. I have like Hollywood Cop is on there. I have a couple Russ Myers movies, but I know they're not going to watch those. I got Russ Meyer movie called Up. I did want to watch this one called Faster Pussycat Kill Kill. That was one of the earlier ones, and it was really highly rated. I put on there a couple more modern movies. I put The Spirit. If you guys remember The Spirit, this movie was like, I loved it, but it was like right before, like it was right after Sin City, and it was like aping the Sin City look. And it had a guy with a red tie, and he had like a little mask, and he had a fedora, and he'd run around. Had Scarlett Johansson in it, had playing a Nazi chick, and then had Samuel L. Jackson playing Octoman or Octopus or whatever. He had like 8 guns. He would like blow people away. I thought it was campy and freaking hilarious. I thought it was a hilarious movie, very camp. But and I used to do filmmaker IQ reviews. I reviewed movies way, way back. And I gave it like a 7 out of 10 or something like that. And everyone just trashed the crap out of the movie. Just trashed it. They hated it. But I thought it was hilarious because it was just freaking funny as hell. So The Spirit, it's a Hollywood studio production. To me, watch it thinking it's a comedy. Don't watch it thinking it's a comic book movie. Watch it thinking it's a comedy, and it'll be funny. So I put that on there. I put Cats on there just in case. Wicker Man, I think we wanted to see that. We hadn't watched Wicker Man yet. So Bullet Sign says Psycho Gorman. Okay, let's put that on the list. I put on there Sharks of the Corn. Have you guys ever heard of this movie, Sharks of the Corn? I feel like I'm talking about David. Yeah, you ever hear this thing, Sharks of the Corn? The title says written a story by Stephen King, And apparently Stephen Kang is nowhere to be seen in the credits list. Oh my God. Sharks of the Corn is about people in a cornfield being chased by sharks in a cornfield. I mean, seriously. Seriously? Will your frame rate video error come to an end? What else to explain it at this point? I never try to make another video about covering the same topics. So I will talk about frame rate as long as there's something worth talking about that I haven't talked about. Like the last two videos, I don't think I mean, other than Flickr Fusion, Critical Flickr Fusion, which is just, you have to talk about it. I mean, it touches everything. So, I mean, other than Critical Flickr Fusion, I don't like to cover ground again. So that's why you're not going to see another video from me explaining why 24 frames a second is good, because I've already explained it like a bunch of times. But there will be more, like I was there. I talked about in the video. I do want to make a video about how to direct for 24 frames a second, or at least how to direct for film in relationship to 24 frames. We talked about the other day. You talked about it last week. Somebody was talking about how like how to pan, and how fast to pan, and why are you panning? Like those considerations have to do with the frame rate too. Like why? Like instead of you want to track, not just pan. Track an object, not just pan for the sake of panning. But that's sort of more of a cinema thing, not necessarily a frame rate thing. But frame rate plays into it. Frame rate obviously plays into it. But yeah, I mean, like the last video was talking about more sci-fi heady stuff and kind of addressing a point that wasn't made in the previous video about the biology of the eye, which is not something I talked about before. So, like I said, I don't ever want to repeat myself. Is there a variable frame rate instead of yeah, there is, and it's not good. Like so if you're on the subreddit for Premiere Pro and on Reddit, obviously, every time somebody complains about their computer like glitching out, it's because they're using variable frame rate. You'll see variable frame rate being used in like cell phones shoot variable frame rate. So a lot of lower capability devices shoot variable frame rate, or they record video variable frame rate. OBS is known to do variable frame rate. It's very, very bad for editing, because your editor, your nonlinear editor, is expecting a regulated frame rate. It's not expecting a variable frame rate, so that messes up all editors. Just it's terrible to work with. So so variable frame rate is not good. And then for artistic effect, I think variable frame rate just destroys the effect. Like it literally is like you're watching a movie and then all of a sudden you're not watching a movie, because to me the frame rate is not an artistic choice. It's a medium choice. You're saying we're in the medium of movies. You're watching a movie. And when the frame rate changes, you're no longer watching a movie. You're now watching a video of something. It changes the texture of everything about it. And I think that was explored. All you need to do is look at Avatar 2. Avatar 2 did it. And how many other movies are slated right now to follow in its path of variable frame rate? Name another movie that has variable frame rate like the way Avatar 2 did. Name another one. No, not happening. So, it is what it is. Have I considered fasting? Yes, a little bit. So I know about intermittent fasting, and I'm thinking about it, It's just one of those things where I'm not in the greatest mental space. So sometimes, it's so easy to just reach for that bag of chips. I get the bag of chips. It's 100 calories. I know, but just need a little something. That's the way it is. It's a video, not a movie. Yep, exactly. That's why I think variable frame rate doesn't work, because it takes you out of the fact that it's a movie. It's that one other thing. Panasonic HP 2100 was one of the first news gathering cameras that variable frame. But is that variable frame rate as an actual like it would? Well, variable frame rate as in it would actually change the frame rate based on what is being shot. Let me just take a look. So I remember, okay, so I got this one. Oh, well, no, so I'm not talking about variable frame rates. You can change a frame rate. Because I know that HPX 2100, that's a pretty old camera, right? Yeah, it's a 2/3 inch broadcast CCD. I mean, variable frame rate as in the file itself is like some parts are at 30 frames a second. Sometimes it drops to 25. Sometimes it goes up to 60. That's what I meant by variable frame rate. But yeah, so I had this one. I won't mention the name of the company. Why not? I won't call them out on it. But so they sent me this video recorder to review, and I pull it out, and I'm trying to figure out how much latency it has or whatever. And I notice bring it into Premiere. It's like it says 30.02 frame rate. I'm like, what? Whenever you see a very, very oddball number frame rate in Premiere, that means it's a variable frame rate that your file that you got. And I said, I cannot take your product, your video recorder, if you have variable frame rate. Like, that is not acceptable in the professional realm. Because, why? Because I'm trying to, oftentimes when I shoot a multicam situation, I need to tie that into audio, like an audio track. Like I'll record audio separately, and and if you have variable frame rate, it is impossible to sync that to audio, because the audio is a fixed 48,000 bits per or 48,000 samples per second. It's not like 48,000 1 second, 48,024 in the next second, 48,000 samples per second. It's very precise. And if you have video that's like whatever variable frame rate, you have syncing issues up the wazoo. Like insane. I do events where, like I'll record for 2 hours. That's typical, because I'll start recording 10 minutes before the show starts, and the show will go for an hour 30, and sometimes I leave it on by mistake it's 2 hours, 2-hour programs. But they will never sync. Never sync. Never sync. Matthews tells me to read the last comment. I know a guy who swears that there is actually quite a good amount of VFR films. He says that it's ruined the experience in some drive-in theaters. He hates FR. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The Blackening is a VFR film. Let's take a look at it. The Blackening. There's a very good reason why there's not a lot of VFR films. Here's the reason why. The technology to play it doesn't exist. I don't think The Blackening is anything but 24. Sorry, I just got the trailer up here real quick. So the official trailer from Lion Gates movies is, guess what? 24 frames a second. The reason why variable frame rate doesn't exist is because it's a bitch to edit, and it's impossible to edit. It literally is impossible to edit. Not with the technology we have. Like, you could edit it with your phone. But if you wanted to throw it to Avid will throw a bitch. He'll throw a fit. I mean, Premiere you could probably edit, because Premiere is kind of agnostic in terms of that. I don't know. Resolve would probably be okay, but variable film is nearly impossible to edit. That's why I know it doesn't exist. And then on top of that, how does it work for the projector? The projector doesn't change frame rate, so that's why. Things presented on the last drive-in. Shudder is my favorite comedy or corn dog horror flick. Things. All right, I gotta put that on my list. I gotta go visit the high seas to find Things. Things. Okay, I should make a note of that. I'll send myself an email. That's what I'll do. What other bad movies should we watch? Like, Hard Ticket to Hawaii was pretty damn amazing. It's interesting with Hard Ticket to Hawaii. It's an exploitation film, but it's not. It's not that exploitative. Like, it's got a lot of like cleavage, but no straight up nudity, which is weird. It's like, you already went halfway. Just movies. Let's see that. All right, put that on there. What else are you saying? Doesn't time code account for variable frame rate when switching? No, because there is no time code, not variable. Oh, it's on Shutter. Okay, I don't have Shutter, so I have to get Shutter. Yeah, variable frame rate doesn't have time code. We're talking like you're thinking in terms of like I don't know. Are you thinking in terms of being able to switch your camera to a different frame rate? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like your cell phone. When you go and shoot your cell phone, like it will vary the frame rate based on what's in the scene and also what the computational requirements are. Like there's no hard coded fast time frame rate to a cell phone unless you use like a dedicated professional level, not professional level, but a dedicated like video recording. Your cell phone videos are variable frame rates. They go all over the place. Suburban Sasquatch. Okay, add that to the list. Suburban Sasquatch. That just sounds good. Suburban Sasquatch. That just sounds like a good movie. I'm sorry. The Coppola, the Coppola Dracula movie, there's a lot of in-camera stuff on there, and the movie is not very good, but variable frame rate will become more common as consoles now do also record in that way when playing VRR enabled display. Yeah. It's OBS also I think is a variable frame rate too. So yeah, so okay, Psycho Gorman. I'm gonna put that down there. Psycho Gorman. Psycho Gorman. I think we might end up watching. I don't know if my friend has any plan for today, but I think we might end up watching Wicker Man because one of our friends' wives, she's our friend too, but she's a female, the female of the species. She loves Nick Cage, so we're like, oh, have you seen Wicker Man? And Wicker Man, and she's like, no, I haven't seen it. It's like we gotta watch Wicker Man. It's always been it's always on the list of bad movies to watch. Anything else? All right, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here pretty soon. So I got a video that I need to work on. I'm gonna try to talk about the directing a one-man multicam shoot. I'm trying to figure out how to like, because I want to share some of the philosophy. So I think philosophy of how to shoot and how to edit is something that's sorely missing on the internet as far as like educational stuff. It kind of lends itself to directing, and I've got some thoughts on it that I wanted to share. I got to organize them and I got to think them through. It may not be a terrifically long video because I don't think the idea is too complicated. To me, it's sort of one of those things where it's like you just have to get the concept down, and everything feeds from the concept. But I know the internet is not of want of more videos about exposure triangles, or every mundane topic out there. I want to put out something that's a little more thought provoking in terms. So what got me was that last week I was talking about pans, and I think somebody was really reacting to like how they thought they were learning a lot when I talked about panning and my theory about why or when you should pan and what's the purpose of the pan, and discussing that idea. So I think that in very much the vein is going to be how to direct a multicam shoot, from a single person's perspective, and how to do it. You can have more than one person, but anyhow, that's my goal. So I've got to try to find a space to do it. But we had this idea for a table read for three scripts we wrote. They're 3 kitchen drama scenes, and I wanted to have some actors read them, and then you guys, the audience, vote via a poll which one you want to see me make, and I would make that one. So that was the idea. So I want to do both in one setting, like kill 2 birds with one stone. So I think that's what I'm going to try to do. The original Wicker Man director cut is one of my favorite cult films ever. Cool. Okay, I think Wicker Man might be the night's viewing excursion. So anyhow, that's the thing. I've got my month of July is going to get kind of hectic. I got Little Mermaid I'm in the production of. That leads to a production of 42nd Street immediately after. So the next 2 months I'm going to be pretty booked up. And then next month I think next month the school starts halfway through. So I'm only about a month and a half away before I have to get back into teacher mode. So there's that. Partners. Okay, add partners to the list. Partners. adding this. I'm literally writing this down. I haven't yet to see BlackBerry. I don't know where is BlackBerry. Is it like on? It depends on what you're shooting for multicam. I've shot a live music video with 18 cameras, one camera with a crop feature. Depends on your budget. Yeah, so my thing with multicam is going to be aimed toward like event style multicam. So I think I'm going to call like how to direct an event multicam as a solo shooter or something like that. Because I'm going to be utilizing PTZ cameras and kind of explaining my approach to PTZ cameras, because I feel like it needs a little bit of explanation. I think it's interesting. It's an interesting angle of shooting a live event that you can't necessarily control, and but I think if you follow some strategies and some particular kind of approaches to it, that it becomes a lot more manageable. But if I let my friend just kind of like help me shoot, and I think I've had to sit down and explain to like, okay, you want to think about this as a terms of what am I trying to capture, right? So what do you frame, or you start with a wide shot, move in close rather than start. You want to get some shots of the room because they're paying for the room. You want to get some shots of the room, then you need to cut in close. So you got the subject matter and stuff like that. Did I see my last comment? I don't know. Was the one about the drive-in theater show in HFR? That's nonsense. I wouldn't buy that. I don't think drive-in theaters. I think their tech is even worse. So I don't think they're HFR unless they're feeding their unless it's like a weird rickety setup where they have a computer playing the movie and the computer has like some sort of weird motion smoothing thing on there. The movies are not HFR. An orchestra of cameras. Well, that's the thing. So I wanted basically, how do you get away with? So if you're a solo shooter and you're trying to capture an event, sometimes the best option is to just have two cameras. One camera doing a wide shot, another camera that you operate yourself, and then you edit that later. But if you wanted to do it live, if you wanted to stream it, or if you wanted to, cut down the amount of post-production work you have to do, you could shoot it with two PTZ cameras, even one PTZ camera. And then the strategy of how to switch between PTZ cameras, what to capture with the PTZ cameras, get the shot. You always want to try to put yourself in a situation. If you have two cameras, you always want to put yourself in a situation where you have one camera you can always jump to. Never have two shots that you can't use. Right? If someone moves on the stage, you want to try to, get the shot and then be thinking, okay, how can I use the camera that I'm not on to give myself either a safety or get myself another shot that's worth cutting to, right? So, and sometimes that's kind of what I want to talk about. There's like the strategy of doing it. So, Ben and Arthur is another movie. He said, all right, Ben and Arthur. I'm going to put all this down here. Ben and Arthur. This is a good list here. I'm going to have a lot to watch here. So, anyhow, that's the thought. That's the idea. Cool. All right, I'm going to send it to myself. All right, so that's going to be it for today, I think. What else? There you go. Looks like I missed another one. I know. YouTube. You gotta like stalk me and like just put like one page with my channel on all the time and just constantly refresh it. Otherwise you miss out. Superfly is a VRF movie, variable rate, film rate. Quotes the IndieWire article on it. All right, let's look it up. Superfly. Variable frame rate. Variable frame rate. I never heard this one, but let's just look up Superfly. Superfly started out in 24 FPS because of digital motion apply. No, so what? Superfly started out at 24 FPS. It stayed that way until 2/3 of the way film, when sudden switch to some high frame rate. Okay, let's see anybody. I don't know about that. Look it up. Superfly. Now you're making me curious because I never even heard this one. Superfly is a film from. It's a film from Sony Pictures. The HD trailer is obviously 24 frames a second, as we expected. I don't even know where to watch it, but I highly doubt that it switches. If it did, maybe. I mean, I don't. I got one person on a TMDB saying it does, but I don't know any of us. I don't know any other source. Let's see, IndieWire. But I'm just looking at here. I don't see it anywhere else. I'm just going through the IndieWire article. Sorry, this is boring. Looking at a website. Hey, Blaine Matthews, he brought it up. Made me look at it. I don't see anything on IndieWire that says it's high frame rate. So there you go. Not gonna lie, when I think Superfly, I think Jimmy Superfly Snuka. I think Superfly is a band. I think. Multicam looks so extra in the Jim Caviezel and Jordan Peterson interview. I saw one time I went to see Jordan Peterson live, and they had a lot of cameras on him. The modern day style of these podcasts to have like so many cameras. Like one camera on the floor just going back and forth. One dude in the back holding a Steadicam kind of wandering about. It's kind of excessive to me. What is the ratio of cameras to the points of interest? Well, it's whatever gear you have, really. If you can pre-program your positions to PTZ with I do. Yeah, that's another part of the solution is to have a wide shot dedicated to So I always dedicate button 1 to the wide shot. I go wide to close. So and my buddy's like, I think the opposite. Like, well, no, you should think wide. Wide is your 1, because the closer you get, the more you have to you think how you can guess how tall someone is at the podium, but you never know. And the person might be a little taller than you think. So you have presets, but and then the person sitting there, they might be sitting like this, and you have to reset your camera. So, your close end presets are good starting points, but you only need to adjust them a little bit. But yeah, definitely. So pre-programmed shots are definitely a thing. Definitely a thing. Definitely a thing to use. That's part of what I would talk about. Anyhow. Yeah, Superfly. No, they're talking about Superfly like a 2018 movie. Anyhow. All right, guys. We're not talking about Superfly. No more talking about Superfly. No, I just think I don't know any FVFR movies, dude. Where they have multiple frame rates. No, other than Avatar. I just don't see any variable. I'm just thinking of the Twitter now. Or not, Reddit. Let's see if Reddit has anything. Oh, Spider-Man. Okay. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Yeah. But we're talking about higher. Billy Lynn, Gemini Man, Douglas Trumbull, Digital Cam Wonder. No. Didn't see. Hobbit movies. Yeah. Hobbits. Mexican with Brad Pitt? No, I don't think so. Avatar 2. Yeah, we got that. Bram Stoker's Dracula? No. All right. Not. I don't think so. Superfly versus Superman. There you go. That's what we got to do. How much of those Midjourney AI videos is photoshopped? Not much, I think. I think Midjourney, I don't know, does Midjourney have an AI video now? I think it's more like it's more like you select the absolute best after. If you do like 1,000 Mid-Journey prompts, you pick the best 10%, you can make those really really good things. But like Mid-Journey, I belong to a couple Facebook groups called like the Dark Side of Mid-Journey and stuff like that. You get some pretty shit results. They're pretty funny. But I mean, obviously it's helpful for doing certain things. But we'll see. Has it changed a lot? I don't know. We got that terrible Marvel introduction for the whatever that new show they have. I forget the name of the show. All right, Rigel, we'll see you. I gotta go too. Flamenco. Put that on my list. The Butt Man was always undecided. I don't know what you're talking about. Mexican Brad Pitt is Benicio del Toro. My God, you people. You people. You shared the link for the article, Matthew? Oh, maybe you should leave a comment or something on the site, on the page. All right, I'll check it out. Might as well do it live. Let's see. All right. Oh, there's me. Oh, it looks like I have a green shirt on. Let's see. Secret Invasion. Thank you. Secret Invasion. Did you share the link there, Matthias? I'm just not seeing anything from IndieWire on Superfly. I'm not padding this out. Let's see. Superfly was a remake, huh? It was of the blaxploitation movie. I'm just Googling it. I don't see anything. Let's see here. The other reason why I know that that variable frame rate isn't a thing is because all digital media, like hard disks, DVDs, Blu-rays, do not take variable frame rate. And usually when they release a film, it's going to be released on those formats. They just use that format for the what you call it, the streaming versions or internet versions. Yeah, let's see. I'm not seeing anything, Matthews. The Superfly link now. I shared the link. I shared the link now. Well, how'd you share it? You didn't put it in the chat, or did you put it somewhere else on my stream, on my channel? Let's see here. Yeah, where's the share? Where'd you share the link? The shared link is now. I shared the link now. All right. Well, I think I'm getting tired and it's getting hot. I need to get going. But I'll hang out for a little bit if you can tell me the link. I think the chat is killing your link there, Matthias. Hello in the low thirds. I don't know. It's weird. Hey, Meow Wang, how you doing? Yeah, I don't know why it's not appearing on. Well, maybe like it's some sort of like hidden, like YouTube hides links because they fear that people are going to spam you, so they take away the link. So what you could do probably maybe is turn it into not a link. I don't know. Hey, Liam, good night, man. Take care. I'm getting tired. It's getting hot. I'm trying to get this. I want to see this article so that you could change my opinion on frame rate right now. Yeah, I'm just not seeing anything referring to that. Superfly. Just type in 48. Nope, not finding a damn thing. I know this is... Superfly. Boo. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. All right, well. Put a hash in the link. There you go. Try that. Put like a hashtag at the beginning or something like that. Now we're definitely we're going to definitely you've been watching Secret Invasion? There you go. I got rid of Disney Plus. No, nothing yet, Matthias. That's what it looks like right there. Well, here, put the title of the article in the chat. There you go. Do that. Put the title of the article in the chat, and I can Google the title and should be able to pull that up. We'll do a back end of version of this. We'll figure this out one way or the other. This is exciting. Aren't you guys excited? Are you not entertained by the fact that we are watching? If you were pedantic, you would say that high compression video is almost a VFR. Nope. I mean, I don't know. It seems a bit of a stretch to say that. No, not working at Matthews. Try just put the title of the article. Copy and paste the title of the article. Try that. We gotta solve this. You guys are. I'm almost getting ready to leave, and I gotta solve it. It's edge of the seat, isn't this? This is highly entertaining. Like John must read this article online for us to see this thing. Because he's so entrenched, he's so captive by his audience. He's so captured by his audience. About 24 frames per second. He's just got to see this thing. You know, it's weird. I was looking at myself on the screen. I'm like my hand is on this chair, but because I got this thing, like I was thinking, like, why is my hand? Ah! No. All right, there we go. Let's see. Did you put the article? Put the article. There he goes. Thank you. All right, let's take a look. Thank you. I looked at that article. I thought I looked at this article, right? This particular article. And I'm going to go search. Director X, Superfly Review. Director X delivers a fun... Okay. Okay, so I'm on this. See, I thought I was looking at this article earlier. I didn't see any mention of it. Let's go to that. Here's my screenshot. Whoop. So I was on this article here. Let's see. Mexican cartel, blah, 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 blah. It's the one that specializes dance enough. Okay, Superfly remakes. Okay. Perfection. Corridor. Blah, 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 blah. Threading the article. Okay. Priest is working on the streets since he knows how to Lucius hair. Okay. Yep. Sells us. Okay. Priest stands in the crowds. No. And the law movie, Juju. See, I'm not seeing anything yet, but we'll keep going. Keep going. First has the slow motion fight with Juju. Okay, dodging bullets. Okay, dropping a mix. Just have established steady vibe. Feels like a Grand Theft Auto game. Okay, but that's Superfly rules. Code switching between genres. Drip a hat. Okay, the approach works. Even means there's a single 20-minute stretch. The third of the act contains a apartment shootout. Lamborghini. Okay. Yeah, it works with characters. Okay. Let's see, here we go. Maybe this is it. Night series rendered high frame rate blur. High frame rate blur. That channels Michael Mann. Blur. There's your key. That's not high frame rate. High frame rate blur. So there you go. That was a lot of fun for mystery solved. So your friend is basically, so a lot of people will say that Michael Mann's Collateral was high frame rate. It's not high frame rate. It's the blur, high frame rate blur, which, remember the Gell-Mann amnesia effect? The guy who wrote that has no idea what he's talking about. So they shot it at a 360 degree shutter. So it's not high frame rate. It's not high frame rate. It's just 360 degree shutter. That's what it is. So that's not, yeah, there you go. So next time you see him, just say, hey, it's not high frame rate. It's literally just blur. High frame rate blur is not, it's not even a good description. It's 360 degree blur. It gives the illusion of higher frame rate. Because if you watch my 20,000 frames per second video, the latest one I made, I talk about how like you can improve the motion of a video by adding motion blur. The more motion blur, the lower the frame rate you can get with. The thing with film is, the 180-degree rule essentially gives us half the motion blur that we would expect. But if you go to 360, you can get that slow, I want to say slow shutter speed. Yep. So it's a slow shutter blur. That's what I mean. It's like this guy that wrote the article isn't a filmmaker, isn't a photographer. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Blur, good band. So yeah, high frame rate blur doesn't mean it was shot in high frame rate. And high frame would have less blur, would have even lower blur. So I did like the Chungking Express playing with exposure. Yep. I don't think I ever watched Chungking Express. Isn't that that one Asian Chinese director? I need to watch more of his movies. What is the best frame rate for noise? It is definitely for 24, I guess. 172.8 degrees for F24. Yeah, that's because you guys are in UK. You got to have your 25 hertz lighting over there. I sent him a video, Public Enemy, a 360 shutter film. He said he could tell the 24 instead of FE. I don't know what's happening more. I'll tell you what's happening. It's 24 frames a second, dude. It's not high frame rate. Like, go and pirate a version of the movie, and then look at the file. That's all you gotta do. Look at the file specs; they'll tell you it's 24. What can you say? Yeah, that's what I mean. Some people just don't understand what's going on. Wong Kar Wai. Yeah, I gotta watch some stuff of his. Anyhow, all right. Was that not exciting? Was that not exciting to me? Watch me and Matthias try to figure out what article he's referring to, and then he's trying to paste the link, and it's not. And YouTube's like gimping his ability to do so. Isn't that what you wanted to watch on a Saturday afternoon? Isn't that like just? Oh, that was just a masterclass in streaming. That's like, everybody wants to, that's why I get the numbers I do on these things. That's really why. That's really why. Yep, I know. That's why you have to do 172. In your 25 FPS, you have to do 180. But in the United States, where we have 60 hertz monitors and stuff like that, we just do straight 180. We don't need to do your funky European numbers. We just good old American 60 frames per second, and then we have to basically, if we're trying to shoot like a TV screen, well, like that, those TVs are fine behind me, like they're not blinking, but I'm shooting at 148, I believe. But anyhow, yeah, isn't that just exciting? Isn't that streaming just the most amazing thing? Just watching a guy trying to see if we can figure out this article. I was ready to say goodbye. I was ready to say I'm gonna go because it's hot in here, and go do something else, but no, I am so engaging. How do you engage your audience for a long time while also not being too engaging? I know. How do I do it? I basically sit and wait for you to tell me a website, and then have YouTube try to interfere and not give me the link because I want to see this website and figure out something's not high frame rate. Isn't that so exciting? So exciting, guys. All right, one more time. 4K release of Mood for Love, controversial because director Wong Kar-wai dramatically changed the original color grading of the film. Ooh, spicy. Rio says, that's why I'm here, for the normality. Well, I don't know. I'm not necessarily normal. I'm a little bit on the weird. All right. I'm getting hot, guys. It is time to put this beast down. No one's going to watch this far into it. All right, guys. We'll see you next week, next Saturday. I should be available next Saturday, or might have to make it Sunday. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Just be on the lookout. Have YouTube. Click the little bell thingy. Make sure you're hearing me, and then those at the chat. You have to find it out after the fact, and hopefully I can get some more videos done for you guys. All right, guys. Have a second monitor. I know I should need to have a second monitor. I've got the big giant monitor. I should do a better setup. Anyhow, we'll talk to you guys later. See you now. Peace out. Bye.